Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of our Wellness Warriors podcast. Today, I'm so excited to be able to have a fellow breast cancer conqueror, Holly Bertone. She and I met at a conference in San Diego, actually 2 years in a row. So after last time we met, I said, I've got to have you on my podcast. So here we are.
And thank you so much for having me. And, I won't hold it against you. The first time I met you, you made me cry.
I did. Oh no. What did I say?
Going through this breast cancer journey, it's been 8 years for me. And I talk about this and I write about this for a living. And, you were up on stage and you were describing what it is like to get your diagnosis. And it just hit me like a tidal wave. And, it really proves that, even years past, it's still just such a huge piece of you, that just listening to your story affected me so much.
Oh, well, I've been told that I make people cry all the time. I don't know if I'm proud of that or not, but
No, but I mean, in a very, emotional way. I mean,
sure.
it really took me back to that place and, just reminded me of how we're connected and, why we're here to help inspire others on the other side.
Yes, because it's a life-changing moment that we never forget, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
the beauty of it is that it's just a chapter in our life, in our story. And like you're really turning this into a positive thing, so that you can reach out and help so many people. So you've written a book. I love the title, Coconut Heads Cancer Survival Guide: My Journey from
Yes.
Diagnose to I Do. That's so sweet.
And
Oh,
that was our wedding day. My fiance at the time, soon to be husband, kissing me on my bald head.
oh, that's precious. That's precious. So let me tell the audience a little bit about you. So, breast cancer conqueror and Hashimotos survivor. So those are two very difficult things to overcome. You're now president and CEO of Pink Fortitude LLC, and you run the health and wellness website pinkfortitude.com. You love, reaching out to cancer and autoimmune survivors, and really, encourage them to keep going, because like you and I, there's hope. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. So tell me a little bit about your story. I know your husband, or your fiance, boyfriend at the time, was right there with you the whole way. So start with the diagnosis and what happened to you.
So I was at the age of 38. I was healthy. We were shopping for rings. I was, at that point, I had been racing in Xterra triathlons and mountain bike races, and that kind of super healthy, very career driven. Climbing the corporate ladder. And on my 39th birthday, after a multitude of tests, was when I received my diagnosis that I had breast cancer. And the doctor that had called was not my doctor. She was on vacation. It was over the summer. And the doctor that had called said, but don't worry, it's the good kind of breast cancer.
Oh yeah, there's a good kind.
Okay, there's a good kind. Should I cheer? That just hit like a ton of bricks. And then I'm like, the good kind, there's a good kind, whatever. Still just, trying to process that. And then 2 days later, my then boyfriend, now husband, got down on one knee and proposed.
So sweet.
So it was crazy. It was 48 hours. You have breast cancer and will you marry me? And yeah, it just completely turned my world
A
upside down.
whirlwind. So tell me, did you feel a lump? Did you do breast exams on a regular basis? How did you discover your lump?
Right. So this is part of what I like to tell people because I say do as I say, not as I do, right? I was at the time, obviously I was 38. I was healthy. I did the whole pink ribbon thing in October, go team, support the girls. But I never did self exams because why should I? I'm young, I'm healthy. There's no reason that I would get breast cancer. So I didn't do self exams. And granted, I wish that I would have, but no, I literally just woke up one day, rolled over, and felt the lump. And the doctors had said that it was about 4 centimeters, which is, I don't know if you can see, it's about the width of my thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I went into my primary doctor, and then, subsequently the breast surgeon and the oncologist, I mean, they literally had to take a few moments to feel around to find it. And, these are the professionals. I mean, aside from my primary doctor, but the other two are breast professionals. They know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically they said, hey, you're healthy, you're, a good weight. They said, if you may have not been as healthy or a few pounds heavier, you wouldn't have found it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the other thing too, is that I found it so early. And, fortunately my primary doctor was, it's probably nothing, but let's get it checked just in case. We never want to just, pretend that it's nothing just in case. So
Right.
fortunately, she was like, yeah, let's get a mammogram scheduled right away.
Okay. Well, I know we've talked to you about breast self exams and the whole My Breast Friend, which we haven't
Yes.
launched yet, but it's coming. We're
I
almost there.
know.
And, this type of training tool is going to help women be educated about what they can find in their breast tissue. Because the average woman, like you, I mean, yours wasn't quite as large as a ping pong ball, but the average woman finds a tumor the size of a ping pong ball versus finding it, the size of a pea, which with this detection method and learning that skill, you'll definitely be able to learn how to do that. So,
Right. And, and the other thing that I learned subsequently was that women who are under 40, and granted, I was right on the line, but, typically women who are under 40 have very dense breast. And
mm-hmm.
it's also hard to find, lumps with that denseness. So, I'm just so excited for your product to come out there to help educate others. And,
Yeah.
and especially too, I was just turning 39. It would have been an entire year till I would have gone to my first mammogram.
Yes, yes. And what we tell women is, even if you choose mammography or thermography and ultrasound or all of the above, there are still 364 days throughout the year where your breast tissue can change. So definitely, become comfortable in feeling your breasts every week at least. So you were diagnosed, and then what happened after that? You chose traditional treatments.
Right. So we actually decided to focus on the breast cancer rather than the wedding because,
Sure.
obviously my health
Obviously,
came first.
right.
So I chose to have a lumpectomy. And then, and this was back in 2010. But all of the tests that they ran, what they called, I guess, the standard of care was pretty much right in the middle. So it wasn't like the markers could make a determination, what treatment would be the best. And this was also before, I learned about more alternative treatment methods.
Sure.
So, being young, all I wanted to do was get it out.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah.
wanted to fight and get it out. And, being 40, I mean, I still have hopefully over, double my life ahead of me. So I also didn't not just want to get it out, but have it never come back.
Yes.
So I did opt for the surgery for a lumpectomy and then chemo and then radiation. So we did a pretty aggressive treatment, and I subsequently, paid for it with my health, but
But
the
you've
cancer
recovered.
hasn't come back. So
Right, right. And you've recovered, and obviously you're very much aware of what you can do to support your body after you've done, those types of treatments, which I'm actually working on an online course for that because there's so many women, they don't, they want to use traditional medicine, which I totally honor and respect. But on the other hand, there are things that you can do while you're doing chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation that can support your body even more so in the healing process. So,
right. And I wish that programs like yours were out there when I was going through this. I mean, I wish I had that awareness that, I was so single focused that I didn't even think about exploring other options. And, even even if, going through chemo, my food of choice, I had really bad food cravings, which I think are common. But the food cravings that I had were Ore-Ida French fries and the crinkle ones,
I know.
and Dairy Queen Blizzards. And you and I both know that those are not good, nutritious foods for
Right.
any time, let alone during chemo when your body needs the nutrition the most.
Right, right. But you know what? It was part of your journey, and here you are, just thriving and vibrantly healthy and beautiful. All right. So, why do you consider breast cancer as a gift? I often at our retreats we talk about there's a blessing and there's a gift behind a breast cancer diagnosis, and it's your responsibility to figure out what that is. So why did you take that approach as well?
That first month or so after I was diagnosed, I went through all the, I think the life cycle of emotions, the anger, the fear, the denial, I mean, everything. And, the throwing, the kicking, the screaming, the crying. I mean, I think everyone has to go through it all.
Sure.
But I came out on the other side, and I can't explain it. I just felt this peace come over me, and I knew, and I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that this was my gift. And I was like, I was diagnosed on my birthday for a reason. And, maybe some girls get earrings or roses. I was like, maybe breast cancer was my gift. And again, at that time, I didn't know what it meant. I mean, my world was turned upside down. I'm, fighting for my life. I'm trying to be a sexy fiance with, being bald and having the chemo farts. And, but I had this underlying piece that breast cancer was my gift. And it wasn't until, years later that I realized, my priorities in life had shifted from, being that, type A, just driven to actually learning how to focus on my health and focusing on my new family, and then focusing on my career. And, just also having this, I don't know, just this gratitude for life, and this, waking up every day, not wanting to chase things down, but waking up every day, just being so grateful for everything that I have. And even on the really bad days, just finding those things to be grateful for. And, so it really did change in a positive way. And I know so many people, are just so, and rightfully so, live in so much anger over this diagnosis. And, just, and I know you as well, just try to help people, look past that, and, look at it differently, and not just as a gift from me, but I also try to help people to give back while they have, while they're going through treatment and through this process as well. And I think a turning point for me was when I went to my first chemo, and there was a girl, she was just throwing up, young girl, younger than me. She was throwing up in a bucket. And, we started talking, and she had, stage 4 terminal cancer and young children at home. And, she just says every day is a gift. And, I just try to make the best memories that I can, for my family. And I don't know, it really just said something to me. Her words just really spoke to me. And since then, every time I was in for an appointment or in treatment, I would start talking to people.
Nice.
And, I was like, we're all in this together. And, and I always, and I'm kind of an introvert. So I'm not one to just be outwardly, chatty with someone, and it was, hi, I'm Holly, I have breast cancer. What are you in here for? And some people wanted to talk and some people didn't, but, they started to open up. And even if it was just a few minutes, and I walked away feeling better about myself because I had connected with someone. And I said, what a gift that is, because I know they felt better, right? Having that connection as well.
That's so sweet. I never would have thought you were an introvert. I'm the same way, and people say, "What, Dr. D?" Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
it's a secret I try to keep.
We definitely are stretching ourselves, right, when we do what we do.
Yeah.
So, why Pink Fortitude?
Well, my mother was diagnosed with Addison's disease when she was pregnant with me, and basically told that she would never give birth to me and that she would never live past 30. And Addison's disease is a very rare autoimmune disease. Her adrenal glands don't work. So she's been on artificial cortisone her entire life,
Wow.
or the last almost 50 years now. So fortitude was her life mantra, and I just kind of grew up with it. And I never really knew what it meant until I was diagnosed. And then I just realized, okay, this is the grit she was talking about, that you just get up every day and you make the most of it, regardless of how bad you feel or regardless of, the situation that life has handed to you. And so Pink Fortitude seemed to be the perfect fit for, my website to be able to inspire other survivors. And, granted, I was subsequently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease as well. So, so I focus both on cancer and autoimmune survivors and helping them live healthy lifestyles.
So let's talk about autoimmunity and Hashimoto's. Give us a brief overview about what that is and maybe 3 or 4 things that you would recommend for people who just find out. And it's amazing to me. I mean, I found out I had it. My daughter's got it. My friend down the street. I mean, it's just like popping up everywhere.
I don't know about any scientific studies, but there are so many women that I talk to after their breast cancer diagnosis are either still sick and not getting better and not getting answers or a diagnosis, or they have been diagnosed with either Hashimoto's or a similar autoimmune disease. So, again, I don't know if there's an official connection out there, but
Right.
there's so many people. And that's, again, one of the messages that I try to get across is that I was not getting better, and my doctors kept saying, "Oh, we've been through a lot." And I said, "I'm 49 years old. I came into this healthy. Like I, I should be getting better at this point."
So how did you
So
feel? What were your symptoms?
I was really tired all the time, and, just kind of tired and achy. And they said, "Oh, that's just the remnants of the chemo." Some of my peers, and I mean, not comparing, but some of my peers in my support group are out doing 5Ks. I can't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Something's wrong. So it took about a year of pushing till I finally got the lab work and got the answers. But so Hashimoto's is the autoimmune component of hypothyroidism. And basically it's a sluggish thyroid. So one of the biggest side effects is that just the fatigue is pretty epic.
And why do you think an autoimmune condition occurs in the body?
I mean, a lot of it is the inflammation, and and I've heard the in terms of just the disease, like, your body needs to drain. I mean, it's your bowels, your urine, your lymph, your lungs, and your sweat or skin, right? And so your body needs to drain and eliminate, all the toxins that come in every day. And if it's, like a stagnant pond, if you don't have that source of drainage, that's when disease happens. But, if you have that, kind of source of fresh water kind of coming in and leaving, that's when prosperity happens in the pond, and you've got the birds and the flowers and everything like that. So, a lot of it is just that disease state and your body being that stagnant pond and not having that outlet for the toxins to remove. And a lot of it comes from our diets and our toxic lifestyles that we live.
That's right. That's a great analogy. I like the pond analogy. So what did you do to improve your situation with Hashimoto's?
It took a few years. I just kind of assumed that this was my lot in life. But it took a few years, but probably about 3 or 4 years ago was when I really started learning about more alternative methods to healing and started learning about, diet, nutrition, toxins. And I had always considered myself healthy. But when I
Mhm.
say healthy, racing triathlons, I considered healthy. And then, eating a pint of ice cream and a slice of pizza and that's healthy,
Right,
right?
right,
so
right.
so my definition of healthy definitely changed. But just eating whole foods, a very plant-based heavy diet. I like to say fruits and roots. Yeah, I like a lot of root vegetables and a lot of fruits as well. But just a very whole foods diet, nothing processed, limited process. I also make a lot of my own cleaning supplies to eliminate a lot of those toxins in the house as well. And what I don't make, I buy is more of the all natural brands as possible in the store.
Sure. No, that's great. That's great. Now, mindset is such an important part of healing. And, I've got the 7 essential system. Essential number 4 is to heal your emotional wounds. And when we host retreats, that's one of the first things we talk about is, you have to have that healing mindset, because if you don't believe your body's going to heal, if you don't believe that your protocol is going to work for you, if you don't look forward to something in the future, your brain is going to tell your body, I'm not really happy. And so your cells are going to respond in that direction. So tell us a little bit about how you feel, how important it is to have a healing mindset.
It's funny that you talk about emotions because I always said, compared to cancer, compared to autoimmune, I mean, I've even pushed parasites out of my body, right? I mean, I've been through it all. But you know what's the scariest of all of them is emotions, right? It's like
Mhm.
dealing with that emotional healing. Like that's really scary, And it actually wasn't, that was the last piece that I addressed in my healing. And it really wasn't until I started addressing those underlying emotions and
Mhm.
started learning about mindfulness is when the tide started turning with that healing. So as scary as it is, it's definitely necessary. And my big thing, I started with waking up every day, and I call them my gratitudes, and thinking of one or two things that I'm grateful for. And then it just kind of hit. I'm like, this isn't good enough. Like, I've always gone big in life. So now in the morning, right before, as soon as I wake up, the second my eyes wake up, and right before I go to sleep, I think of 10 things that I'm grateful for, either from that day or for the day ahead. And it just really, especially in the morning, just really helps to set that mindset of the day, whether it's a good day or a bad day. Like, it's just to be able to focus on, the good things in life and the positive things in life. And, just it just makes the hiccups in life seem just so minor at that point, just
Yeah,
to start the day full of love and gratitude.
that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's very good. So you also have a gift for us, for our listeners, $50 worth of free ebooks and downloads, including 3 cancer-related books. So
Yes.
where can they go to get that gift?
Yes, it is on my website, pinkfortitude.com. And then you hit the backslash and the word thank, THANK. So pinkfortitude.com/thank. And yeah, I love to write, and I love to just create these ebooks for everyone, just to, have a gift to be able to just kind of read and learn and be inspired. And yeah, and we actually, several of them are cancer related. We even have a medical printable, that you can take to your doctors as well. And
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, Holly, you're doing such a great job. I'm so excited for you. And, the fact that you've turned your health around, it was quite an incredible journey. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for being on our podcast and sharing your amazing story with our audience.
Oh, and thank you so much for having me. And I really do look forward to connecting with everyone.
Okay, bye bye.